talking about some of the most challenging nematodes you're seeing right now. And what are some of the tools and technologies you're exploring to improve nematode management in almonds?
Yeah, hi, Kristen. So, yes, we are, of course, doing new research and trying to find new tools. Now, at times, that talon fumigation is becoming so much more challenging to get it on effectively, efficiently, and cost-effective, most of. And so the biggest problem probably right now is root lesion nematode, because we have pretty good resistance against root knot nematode. But root lesion nematode, we are still working very hard and trying to find methods to cope with that. The other one that is kind of important is ring nematode. It's mostly in very sandy soils. When you have a very sandy field, like in, I guess, Madeira has, or Merced County has a lot of those, then you can be set up for quite some problems. So we are working on rootstocks, we are working on different soil treatments, and trying to find solutions in there.
So can you just talk about some of the latest advancements in nematode-resistant almond rootstocks? I know you talked a little bit about that. Or some alternative control methods to address long-term challenges of nematode.
Yeah, my pleasure. So we are excited that we now finally, after years of research, have some rootstocks that seems to be coping much better with root lesion nematode. It was superior over Hansen 536, far outcompeted Crimson 86 in a nematode-infested field. So in this field was root knot nematode and root lesion nematode, and this rootstock allowed much higher yield. To give you a quantitative frame, it was about 50% more than Hansen 536, and it was 3 times the yield that Crimson 86 would make under these conditions. So we are really excited about that, because planting into non-treated soil, maybe it long term has to be our approach to that. But of course, out of all the experience we have so far, we really would want some pre-plant treatment out there when you know you have high population densities of nematodes. So we have been working on that for a number of years now. We are working on non-fumigant methods, simply because fumigant methods will have a hard time to be registered in California. And so we had among the low fumigants, we had Dominus as a material, but that probably will not get registration in California. So unfortunately, because we made it work very effectively, very high efficacy, we've developed methods that it would be cheaper to apply it than currently possible in other states. And so, but that's not going to make it. Anaerobic soil disinfestation, so the incorporation of carbon-rich material to the soil surface, incorporating them, wetting the soil big time, and then incubating them for about a month, is the method that works very well in our hands. We have done all kinds of manipulations to see what we need for the efficacy that we need to get a clean soil, and we are currently working on alternative application methods of that. So we find different ways and different substrates that can be used for its application.
And I've heard you talk about it before, and you talked about it today. The pre-plant treatment just seems to be the way to go, and the ASD, which you talked about a lot as well.
Yes, so it seems quite, very risk-averse to just plant into a field without knowing the history of the field, without doing anything against the nematodes, because a transplant is still the most vulnerable tree that you can have, be it a bare root, which becomes a little bit out of fashion in almond, or be it a potted plant. Still, when it's first planted, it goes through transplant shock. It makes these new roots, and the nematodes will be happy to feed on your roots, because that's their main feeding site. So it's not a good idea to plant a tree into such a situation, because yes, we did some trials that you can recoup your orchard, but you at least lose 1 year before you have something like a useful orchard when you do that.
Like you said, you don't want to put your feet in the fire and then put that fire out later, right?
That's right, yes.
So, just to wrap it up here, what are some of the challenges that you've encountered in implementing the new tools and strategy? And then what strategies are being developed to overcome some of the widespread adoption for growers that they might not be handling well right now?
Well, the problem, of course, is the ROI that we are after. We are doing farming for a business, so we need to make money. And so ASD, under the call it classical way, is very, very expensive and maybe adoptable for some nurseries, but for a commercial grower it's going to be far too expensive. So we're working on ways to make the application cheaper. So we just build a tool that we can apply slurries of ASD substrate easier, or we use other substrates that we don't need to bring into the field anymore, but we grow nematode antagonistic crops in the field that then are incorporated once they have grown as a cover crop before that, and using the biomass of these materials, these plants, as a substrate, which should make it much cheaper, at the very least much easier logistically, because you don't have so much material to haul around, but can grow it in place and incorporate it then. Those are studies that are just beginning now, so if any of it is of interest to any of the growers who hopefully listen to this, I'm more than happy to work with them if there's some orchard that they have. We will need one summer to do that, because we need the growth time for the material, and we need the warmer soil temperatures in summer to do our applications. But that's pretty much the cutting edge there. Our rootstocks that I just reported on, we are making more of these plants, so that would also be a good tool to test in a broader sense. So anybody interested in nematode management, please feel free to reach out, and we can talk about options we have and what we can possibly test together to learn together on this, because it is of course important to get it out to the growers there that they can use what we develop here at Kern.
So that collaboration with the growers is going to be pretty important as this research continues.
That's certainly true. So, yeah. And I understand that right now people are not too enthused about the situation because of the poor returns at times. But if we want to continue growing our crops, we need to learn more about them. We know that talent regulation is only going to become tougher. Many of you have read about the Sustainable Pest Management Roadmap. So in general terms, that's where the whole thing is heading. So we better be prepared for that.